Bien, comenzamos la sesión informativa de esta tarde. En primer lugar, daros las gracias por vuestra numerosa, porque hay que decir que ha despertado mucho interés, vuestra numerosa asistencia a la presentación de esta tarde, que evidencia a todas luces que el interés que suscita el Reino Unido como destino de movilidad no ha decrecido, sino que se mantiene en lo más alto a pesar de todos los cambios y dificultades que han surgido en los últimos años. La situación derivada de la salida del Reino Unido de la Unión Europea ha supuesto un cambio en su política de inmigración que, por supuesto, ha afectado también a las movilidades tanto de estudios como de prácticas. Sin embargo, el hecho de que ahora nos encontremos unas limitaciones que anteriormente no existían no supone que los procedimientos sean difíciles y mucho menos imposibles de seguir, sino que simplemente tenemos que normalizar esta nueva realidad para que los cauces correspondientes sean conocidos por las oficinas de movilidad y relaciones internacionales de las instituciones de educación superior españolas y puedan así incorporarlas a su planificación y a su operativa cotidiana. En cualquier caso, lo que también es insoslayable es que el panorama normativo es más complejo que antaño, y eso supone la necesidad de clarificarlo para que las instituciones tengan disponible la información pertinente y a su vez puedan trasladarla a su alumnado. Porque fundamentalmente hemos observado a través de vuestro feedback, y especialmente a raíz del evento de networking entre universidades españolas y británicas que tuvo lugar el pasado diciembre en Valencia, que por cierto SEPI organizó fantásticamente, que el obstáculo fundamental para llevar a cabo estas movilidades no es tanto el nivel de restricciones o limitaciones en el actual contexto, sino más bien la confusión que existe y la incertidumbre que hay respecto a cómo ponerlas en marcha. Y esto desmotiva en algunos casos a llevar a cabo movilidades con el Reino Unido ante el temor a no saber gestionarlas o a encontrarse con problemas imprevistos. Y todo esto es perfectamente comprensible. Y este hecho es especialmente notorio además en lo tocante a los procedimientos a seguir para realizar internships en el Reino Unido, ya que en general lo relacionado con visados de estudio está más normalizado, porque prácticamente todas las universidades británicas están autorizadas para proporcionar el Certificate of Sponsorship necesario para que quienes van a cursar estudios en ellas a través de UCAS y el resto de cauces puedan obtener la Student Visa. En cambio, los procedimientos a seguir para obtener los visados relativos a internships son mucho menos conocidos y con frecuencia, como bien sabéis, objeto de confusión. En buena medida debido a que, a diferencia de los visados de estudios, estos otros se enmarcan en los correspondientes a una categoría específica de trabajo temporal. Y los visados con fines laborales tienen numerosas variantes que además entrañan una mayor complejidad. En este contexto y con la voluntad de arrojar algo de luz sobre este tema que permita al menos clarificar esta situación en la medida de lo posible, e insistimos, dentro del contexto actual, que no podemos evidentemente modificar, desde British Council hemos decidido llevar a cabo esta sesión informativa para la cual contamos con una de las organizaciones con más experiencia a la hora de gestionar este tipo de certificados en el día a día. Y hemos preferido abordar este tema desde un punto de vista práctico, más que estrictamente normativo, puesto que evidentemente lo que importa, en realidad, es el conjunto de pequeños detalles involucrados en el proceso general de solicitud, tanto de los certificados como de los propios visados, en lo referente a los pasos a seguir, la documentación necesaria, los criterios de elegibilidad, los plazos involucrados y, especialmente, y sabemos que es un tema sensible, los costes asociados. Esperamos que el evento os resulte interesante y sobre todo útil y que en la medida de lo posible os permita avanzar dentro de vuestros programas de movilidad. Por nuestra parte, queremos contribuir a que al menos exista información sobre lo que es posible y lo que no es posible y sobre cómo llevar a cabo lo primero. En nuestra intención está el seguir ofreciendo sesiones informativas que os mantengan en contacto con la actualidad del panorama educativo británico y con las posibilidades y oportunidades de colaboración que puedan surgir en el futuro. A continuación, para no extendernos más, daremos paso a la intervención de Kate Howe, en representación de BUNAC, una de las organizaciones que tienen más presencia en el panorama actual de certificados para internships en Reino Unido. Y al finalizar le trasladaremos las preguntas más representativas que nos hagáis llegar. Queremos dejar constancia de que nosotros como British Council no tenemos vinculación con esta organización, a la que hemos invitado con fines meramente informativos por su relevancia para las instituciones y que no estamos avalando ni aconsejando utilizar unos u otros servicios de una u otra organización. Tan solo enmarcamos su presencia en nuestro ánimo de arrojar algo de luz sobre este tema. Dicho esto, y por supuesto, agradecemos muchísimo su gentileza al colaborar con nosotros en la difusión de esta información tan largamente solicitada por las universidades e instituciones de educación superior españolas. And now, we will switch to English. And next, I would like to introduce Kate Howe, who is the Key Account Manager at BUNEC, and thank her for being here this afternoon and for kindly helping us clarify the context of UK internship visas. The presentation will last approximately half an hour, and at the end of it, we will send her the most representative questions that you have been asking us. BUNEC is an organization authorized to provide the Certificate of Sponsorship, or COS, required for the temporary work government authorized exchange visa to do a paid or unpaid internship in the UK. Therefore, they are familiar with the day-to-day of these procedures, which we think is what in the end can be most useful for Spanish institutions. Thank you, Kate, for being here. We think your presentation will be most helpful for Spanish institutions willing to carry out internship mobility programs in the UK. So, without further ado, you can start your presentation now. Thank you.
Gracias, Joaquin. Thank you. And hola a todos, everyone. Thank you very much for joining today. I will be sharing on what it now looks like for someone entering and working in the UK after Brexit. So I represent BUNEC, who is a sponsoring organisation who helps students and recent graduates gain entry into the UK and carry out an internship. Just to confirm, I don't work for the UK Home Office or UK Border Agency, and all the information provided today can be found within the gov.uk website and BUNEC's website, and I will share an overview of this presentation with anyone that would like to receive this. We'll firstly look at the procedure and the regulations of entering the UK after Brexit, looking at the different types of visas that can be used based on the applicant's reason for being in the UK. I'll go through the sponsoring organisation's stakeholder structure, detailing the relations with UK Home Office and UK Border Agency, UKBI. We will take a closer look at the temporary work, GAE visa, that allows students and graduates to carry out an internship in the UK. And we'll have a look at the eligibility of both applicant and UK host employer for this visa. And lastly, I'll run through just the unique features of working with BUNEC, providing the cost and sponsorship, the cost of sponsorship and visa, and provide recommended timeframes for both applications. So since the 1st of January 2021, as a result of Brexit, EEA nationals must now obtain a visa that corresponds to the reason for their stay in the UK. In most cases, all nationalities who don't hold a UK passport or are not part of the EU settlement scheme, they must apply for a visa if they intend to work, study, volunteer in the UK. There is a misconception that someone can carry out an internship in the UK on a tourist visa, and in most cases this isn't possible, and a visa is needed for any type of work experience, internship or role shadowing. You can check if a visa is needed for the stay in the UK by heading to gov.uk website, check UK visa. Here is the stakeholder structure, which shows who takes part and who are the key parts in the visa application process. Our UK Home Office and Border Agency oversee the UK visa immigration, also known as UKBI. UKBI appoints sponsor organisations, issues the visa and monitors all entry into the UK. And a sponsoring organisation holds a visa sponsorship licence and has been approved by UKBI to issue certificate of sponsorships. The applicant is the person applying for their visa sponsorship and visa, and the eligibility is checked by the sponsoring organisation. And a UK host employer is the company that provides the internship placement to the applicant. So they're also vetted by the sponsoring organisation. These four are the main stakeholders that are involved during the visa application. In some cases, a third party is involved with the process by helping the applicant find an internship placement in the UK. Universities often share contacts or create opportunities for their students that creates an international internship programme. And in these cases, BUNAC work directly with the university to help share information and the process guidelines to their students. Just before we delve into the visa for internships, I just want to show you the other visa options, as there will be many reasons for someone wanting to go to the UK. So I'll just take a look at the different visa routes. Within the first column, you can see 5 different visas: the family visa, study visa, tourist, work and business visa. You can find information on each of these visas at gov.uk website. We're going to take a closer look at the work visa. So the middle section then shows the different types of work visas. You can see there are plenty here to choose from, each providing a unique reason for working in the UK. But for someone who is looking to carry out work experience, also known as an internship or role shadowing, they will apply for the temporary work visa. Then the final section highlights the categories that sit within the temporary work visa. These are creative and sporting, charity, religious workers, government authorised exchange, international agreement, and the youth mobility scheme. For someone looking to carry out an internship in industries such as business, engineering, marketing, politics, finance, and other really popular sectors, they will most likely apply for the temporary work government authorised exchange visa. So we're going to learn now specifically just about that GAE visa. Also known as the GAE visa or government authorised exchange, is very popular, and it's a route for someone looking to carry out an international internship, as it allows the applicant to receive a practical learning experience in a specific industry, providing insight and first-hand experience they can take home and then utilise in their home country. In order to apply for the visa, they must have found an internship in the UK, selected a visa sponsor organisation, and they must meet the eligibility requirements of the visa sponsorship and the visa. The next slide will show information on the visa sponsor. So a sponsorship organisation is an entity that provides an applicant with a certificate of sponsorship number, which then allows the applicant to apply for their visa. A sponsorship organisation has been approved by UKVI and provided with a visa sponsorship licence, allowing them to run an approved exchange scheme. A sponsorship organisation can also be a higher education institution or a government department or agency. You will find that some UK companies have their own visa sponsorship licence for the temporary work GAE visa, which means they can sponsor the applicant directly for their internship, and they wouldn't need a third-party sponsoring organisation. This can sometimes be restrictive for the applicant, as the internship is limited to the company's sponsorship regulations, and BUNAC, as well as other sponsoring organisations, act as an overarching sponsor for many companies in the UK, which can provide a variety of internship industries and roles. If an applicant wishes to intern at a company in the UK that does not hold their own visa sponsorship licence, BUNAC and other sponsoring organisations can be the visa sponsor. sponsorship organisation has their own eligibility criteria that must be met before they can issue a certificate of sponsorship. I'm going to go through BUNAC's eligibility criteria as an example. Just before I do, I want to give you a quick overview of BUNAC and who we are. So BUNAC were established back in 1962. We're one of the UK's largest temporary work GAE visa sponsors, and we're regulated by UKVI and endorsed by BEIS, our governing department for business, energy and industrial strategy. Brexit, BUNAC worked mainly with universities in the US and the rest of the world, so sponsoring students from Harvard, MIT, Florida State and many other universities. Post-Brexit, we are now also helping students from Europe, working with universities and companies directly. And you can see just a few of the UK companies some of our current applicants are interning with. And we are now working directly with the Spanish Chamber of Commerce, ISEX, providing sponsorship to applicants looking to intern within their UK companies. So we're going to go through eligibility for the applicant. So to meet the eligibility, we'll need to check that the applicant meets the visa requirements, and we'll ask them to provide us with documents to support their application. I can share with you a list of those documents for anyone who's interested in those specifically after this presentation. But the applicant needs to be at least 18 years of age, a current student at degree level, or graduated. If they've graduated, they just need to start their internship within 24 months of the graduation date. One applicant can have 2 temporary work GAE visas in one lifetime. You'll find that most sponsoring organisations do not sponsor internships within the hospitality or healthcare sector. We then check the eligibility of the UK host employer, so ensuring that they meet the internship regulations of our sponsorship and then ensuring they meet the regulations of the visa. So we make all of those checks and we ask that the employer provides us with a detailed training plan so we can see what type of role the internship is going to be filling within the company. And this allows us to check that the host employer is going to provide a successful working experience or internship for the student. And we're also checking that it's going to comply with the UK labour law and regulations. So the internship eligibility you are seeing here is for BUNAC sponsorship only. Other sponsoring organisations will have similar, but their own eligibility requirements. So BUNAC's internship requirements are a maximum of 12 months. We can provide sponsorship. The internship needs to be at least 25 hours per week. A supernumerary position, so it's designed specifically for an intern and it's not replacing a permanent position within the company. A full-time employee ratio of 5 full-time employees to 1 intern, just so we can see the level of support the intern is going to have. The company must hold Companies House registration for at least 12 months. This is something that we check. Internships can be paid or volunteer. If it's paid, it's got to meet or exceed the UK national minimum wage. Hybrid internships are absolutely fine, as many companies after COVID are working remotely. However, at least 30% of the internship must be held within office. So your intern, so the intern's going to have a successful experience heading into the office and having a feel of actually doing an internship in the UK. I'll soon cover off our last slide, which actually has the cost and the time frame of the application. But here's just a quick look at how the process works for an applicant when they apply for their visa sponsorship and visa. Just as a reminder, again, this is BUNAC's process structure. Only other organisations will have their own process. So once an applicant has found their internship in the UK, they will apply to BUNAC through a partner portal that we've created for all partners. Each university or company will have access to their own partner portal, and this allows them to pay the sponsorship fee, track the application, and really monitor what's going on with the application if they need to. Confirm the eligibility of the applicant and the UK host employer. That's when we can issue the certificate of sponsorship. And we issue the certificate of sponsorship or COS directly to the applicant along with the next step guide on then applying for the visa with UKVI. Once they receive their visa, they can enter the UK and start their internship with the company. BUNAC will check in with the applicant once a month to make sure that they're still in their internship and that they're getting all the level of support that they need for their internship. They can raise any red flags if they need to, but we are a point of contact for interns in the UK pre and post when they get to the UK. So the student will need to pay a sponsorship fee and a visa fee. With BUNAC, the sponsorship fee starts at €789, and this is paid directly to BUNAC. The visa fee is £259, or roughly, I think today, €295, and this is paid directly to UKVI. If the internship is longer than 6 months, the applicant will also need to pay the immigration health surcharge fee, which is £420 or roughly €480. And the time frame that we recommend for the BUNAC sponsorship application is roughly 4 weeks, but this can be done more quickly if the applicant is quick at their application. And then we recommend at least 4 to 5 weeks for the visa application with UKVI. So in total, the applicant will need to leave or allow at least 8 to 10 weeks for both processes before they start their internship in the UK. So that is the end of the presentation. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining and your time and listening here today. And I'm here to answer any questions that you might have on today's call. And you can also contact me at partners@bunac.org. My name's Kate Howe, and you can send through any questions that you might have if you're not wanting to take part in the Q&A. Joaquin, I think we're going to be looking at the Q&A now, is that right?
Yes, we are now reading the different questions that our attendees are making. One of the most frequently asked questions we have is related to the need to pay for British health insurance when you are in possession of a European health card. Is it possible to request a refund of this amount or not?
Oh, that's a really great question. I would need to check. So if it's okay after this call, I want to give the precise information for that, and that's not something that I know that can be refunded. So I'd like to do a bit of research on that and then come back to that person for follow-up, if that's okay. Okay,
thank you, Kate. One more question we have is about how long does the overall visa process take?
Yeah. So we recommend for a visa to be issued for this GAE visa, the standard processing time is 3 weeks from a biometrics appointment. Now, many EU nationals will be able to complete their biometrics online if they've got a biometrics chip in the passport, so one of the new passports. So we recommend allowing 4 to 5 weeks for the visa application itself, in case there's any delay with UKVI. I'm not sure if you're aware, but last year UKVI did experience a lot of delay due to issuing, prioritizing visas for Ukraine. It was an unexpected circumstance, but we're just trying to avoid any disappointment with an internship start date not being adhered to. So we recommend at least 5 to 6 weeks just for the visa process, and you need you need around 4 weeks for your sponsorship process before then.
Okay, thank you, Kate. We are now getting several questions related to the health sector, and so I think it's very helpful to remark how feasible is to carry out an internship in that sector, healthcare and the like, because there are some attendees that are interested in following that kind of internships, but are finding this quite difficult.
Yeah, I understand there is difficulty within this sector. Our sponsorship, as well as others, we're not able to sponsor healthcare internships where an intern has direct contact or is providing patient care. So within a hospital, they wouldn't be able to provide any medical attention, and they wouldn't be able to work within the nursing home or health home industry. But we can look at healthcare internships on a case-by-case basis. So if you've got an applicant wanting to look at healthcare and data analogy, or within the research, within science, within laboratories, we can look at that type of internship on a case-by-case basis. But BUNAC wouldn't be able to sponsor any internships that have patient contact or care. As far as I know, no other sponsoring organizations overarching are able to provide this either. I'm hoping that the government will bring something in, like a separate scheme. I do know that some education establishments do hold their own license for this particular visa. I was actually on a call with one of them this morning. I will ask if I can share the university name, so I can share that with you, hopefully, and that will be able to give further information on healthcare internships with direct patient contact or care. I just need to follow up with them, Joaquin, if that's okay, so I can share that information.
Okay, thank you. We will gather all the remaining information so we can properly disseminate later. So thank you. There are more questions related to specifically the partner portal. Some attendees wouldn't like to clarify what's specifically the partner portal. One of them asked us whether it refers to home university or host university.
Yeah, so the partner portal is a portal that BUNAC have created to allow the third party, i.e. the university that's sending their students to the UK, or a UK company that wants to take an applicant, take an intern. The partner portal feature allows that person to invite the intern to start the process with BUNAC. They can upload documents on behalf of the applicant, they can pay the sponsorship fee, and they're tracking the application. So it's a really great feature, it's free, it's part of working with BUNAC, and that partner portal is available to any university or any third party that's involved with sending a student to the UK for an internship.
That's right, thank you. Another question is, the following one. Is the GAE visa required for students who will be trained in a bioscience laboratory for less than 6 months?
If it's considered a work experience, training in sense of that they're going to be role shadowing, yes, they will need a GAE visa, even if it's below 6 months. It's tricky for me to say if they could be it could be accessible for a different visa, unless if this person wants to send through an overview of what the internship or the training program is, we can see if a visa is needed for the GAE, and then if not, we can recommend a visa route for that person.
Right, thank you, Kate. Now we have a quite interesting question. I don't know whether it's true or not, that the company, there must be a rumor about this. Is it true that the company in the UK must pay £8,000 for each of the candidates to whom it wants to offer an internship?
No,
I suppose.
Absolutely not. That's not. That's not. I've never heard of that. It's not something that would be expected or accepted. If the UK company is providing any source of pay, it has to be in the form of a salary, so a monthly pay slip. BUNAC and every sponsoring organisation should be taking a copy of that monthly pay slip. So we keep it stored. So if UKVI came and made any auditory checks, we know that the UK host employer is providing the correct amount to every intern that they take on. If it's a paid internship, it's got to meet the UK national minimum wage or above. There's no one-off payment. They can't provide a stipend, and there's no one-off payment that's needed or provided.
Understood. Thanks, Kate. Well, another attendee asked about the following question. The only way to get a work visa is through a sponsor organization like BUNAC. Spanish institutions cannot carry out this process on their own, can they?
I believe not. I believe only UK organisations can apply for a visa license. It's got to be a UK entity. If they haven't already got a GAE visa license and they would like to apply for it, they can do so on the gov.uk website, but it does need to be a UK entity.
Okay, that's very clear, Kate. But if the company has a temporary worker license, can the student obtain the COS directly through them? Any website to inform British companies about how to get it?
Yes. So if a company if they have it, lots of companies you find in the UK have got the skilled visa or the tier 2 visa license. If they're looking to get the GAE visa, they would apply the same way, just on the gov.uk website, and they have to have complete an application form. If they've got a GAE visa license already, yes, they can sponsor the intern directly. So that would mean that they wouldn't need a third party like BUNAC or sponsoring organisation to step in and provide the visa sponsorship. It's really down to the UK host employer what path they follow. Some UK companies only have a small allocation of GAE visa sponsorships. So for them to share the internships with more candidates, they would need to use a third party. But if they've got enough, they would just sponsor the intern directly.
Right. Thank you. Is there any cost associated to the partner portal for the university?
No, there's no cost working with BUNAC. The only cost that BUNAC receives, the only fee, sorry, that BUNAC receives is the sponsorship fee alone. There's no partner fee or cost to work with BUNAC.
Okay. In the same vein, there are several questions about companies that don't have a sponsorship license. Is there any means to get the visa without being sponsored by a licensed company or not?
Yeah, they can't. No one can apply for the visa without a sponsor. If the UK company can't provide that sponsorship, then that's where a third-party sponsoring organisation would be able to help. If the company doesn't want to use a third party like BUNAC and they want to apply for their own visa license, they can do so by completing the application with the UK government for a visa license for the GAE visa.
Okay, great. There are many questions related to the minimum period for an internship that doesn't require a visa, a temporary work visa, and the corresponding certificate.
So any type of work experience, if it's internship, role shadowing, volunteering, any type of work experience that someone intends to do, if it's below 6 months, they have to have a visa. They can't come in on a tourist visa and be able to carry out any type of work experience. So they do have to have a visa for their work experience in the UK, even if it's 2 weeks, 4 weeks. They have to have a visa for a work, practical learning experience, internship, role shadowing, whatever you want to call it. They do have to have a visa.
Okay, I see. In the same vein, again, regarding Erasmus training for staff, in this case, who attend either a university in UK or a company for job shadowing and the like, only visiting for a few days, is the procedure the same as for students, or is there any different?
Training, but I understand they shouldn't need a visa. The best way for anyone to be completely clear is to check on the gov.uk website, and you're literally typing in check UK visa, and it will drop down specifically. So if they're looking to do training or particular research field, because it's not black or white. There's different variations to what someone might be doing in the UK, if it's training or if it's work. So the clearest answer I can give you is to check the gov.uk website and check if they need a visa. It will allow them to explain, drop down what it is that they intend to do in the UK, for how long. That will tell them what they can and can't do within the UK if it's involved in training or working.
That's perfect. So the cost for a visa is the same, whether it's for 2 weeks or 5 months, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So it's £259 for the visa, regardless of, as you say, two weeks or 6 months. What they will need to pay extra if it's longer than 6 months is the immigration health surcharge fee. They won't have to pay that fee if it's up to 6 months. Above 6 months, they will need to pay that £420 immigration health surcharge fee.
Okay. And specifically talking about PhD students on a research stay in a UK university, do they need a visa too?
For who? Sorry, Joaquin. For someone.
Yes. PhD students on a research stay at a UK university within the Erasmus traineeship program. Do they need the same visa, or is there
unless they're carrying out an internship or practical learning experience, they wouldn't need this visa. It could be that they need a separate study visa, but unless they're doing any type of working experience, then they wouldn't need this visa.
That's really clear. Thank you, Kate. Well, I think this sums it up because there are many more questions, but they're almost always related to the same topics. Most of them, and that's perfectly understandable, want to know whether there's some shortcut to get the temporary work visa without considering an organization because of the associated costs, and that's perfectly understandable. So many questions are related to what a company has to do to get the corresponding license to sponsor students.
Yeah, so I can't answer too many questions because we're not the ones that provide the visa license. We've just been provided one, but of course, the cheapest and quickest way for an applicant to intern in the UK is to be sponsored directly by the UK host employer. It's got to be down to the UK host employer to apply for that visa license if they haven't got one already. It can take a number of weeks, it can take a number of months. It really depends on what information they're providing. It's all down to you know, the UK visa immigration providing that license for sponsorship. So I can't give any further detail other than the UK host employer would need to apply for that one directly with UKVI, and they can complete that form online and provide hopefully hopefully they would have a visa in time for the internship. If not, then they can use the sponsoring organization third party.
Okay, thank you, Kate. There's another question related to your services. Does BUNAC just deals with the COS, or does it help a student find a company with an internship too?
Great question. So we do actually, we've just launched something called a job hub because as BUNAC are a visa sponsor, we also send many students outbound of the UK for travel and work experiences in New Zealand, Australia, the US and Canada. So we've created a job hub for an applicant to choose their work before they've left the country, or the same for someone coming into the UK. We've got a platform where students can sign up, they can pay the deposit, and then they can be searching through eligible internships that are available to them in the UK. So we have partnered with many UK host employers who are looking for interns. So this job hub just provides that flexibility for students and UK host employers to meet. They can carry out an interview and make that selection for internship. It's a different cost, and this is provided on our website. The cost for this service, which does include visa sponsorship, starts at £1,129. So they're paying for their visa sponsorship and an internship placement. We also work with many partners, we call them placement companies, such as Anglo, ESPA, Absolute Internships, the Intern Group, many companies who really provide specific and bespoke internships to someone that's needing that help with finding an internship. So there are different companies that can find the internship for the applicant, and then they come to BUNAC for their visa sponsorship. So there's definitely help out there. There's companies that provide the internship placement. BUNAC also has the job hub, and you'll find that information on our website.
Okay, Kate, thank you very much. I think it's really clear. Many questions have been answered. We are seeing that most questions are around the same topics that have been already discussed. We don't think it's necessary to reiterate several times the same questions. However, we will provide the attendees with the recording of this event, and we will also gather all the corresponding documentation. So it's available to all institutions in Spain that are interested in following internships in the UK. I think it's really helpful to finally get some information and to shed some light on this difficult topic. We expect things to improve in the future, but right now this is the context we are working with, and I hope Spanish institutions understand this circumstance. However, we will do our best to support and help and inform institutions about the best way to proceed, especially counting on organizations as yours, Kate. So we are reaching the end of our time slot for this event. So we thank you very much for your attendance today, Kate. It's very helpful. We hope to be able to arrange future events with you again.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, Joaquin, for having me. Thank you.
And thank you very much to all attendees today. We will try to arrange future events with several subjects that are of your interest. This is the final wrap up of this event. Thank you very much to all, and good evening.